Welcome to your Paris deep dive. Get ready, because by the end, you'll be able to impress anyone with your knowledge of all things Paris.
That's right. We've got a ton of research and articles right here. Everything from those super famous landmarks to some of the lesser-known gems.
Ooh, I love the hidden gems. Paris is such a global icon, but it also has those intimate, almost secret spaces too, right?
Exactly. We'll be exploring all of that.
And we're not just talking about the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre either. I mean, did you know Paris has a mosque? Like a real mosque?
Yes. And it has this beautiful Moorish architecture. And get this, it even has a hammam.
No way. See, I'm learning stuff already.
Oh, and one of the largest synagogues in Europe is in Paris, too.
Wow. Paris truly has it all, huh? Okay, well, I think we got to start with the classics, right? The historical landmarks.
Okay.
I mean, you can't go to Paris without picturing the Eiffel Tower.
Right. It's the ultimate symbol of Paris.
I'm curious, though, beyond the iconic views, what makes the Eiffel Tower so special?
Well, believe it or not, when it was first built, there was this huge uproar. Like, people hated it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Artists and intellectuals, they called it a monstrous eyesore.
A monstrous eyesore. The Eiffel Tower.
I know, right? It's crazy to think about, but they actually almost tore it down.
That is wild. It just goes to show how tastes change, huh? What was once seen as an eyesore is now like the most romantic spot on Earth.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of iconic landmarks with fascinating stories, we have to talk about Notre-Dame Cathedral.
Oh, absolutely. With its stunning Gothic architecture, those incredible stained glass windows.
Yeah.
It's just breathtaking.
Notre Dame has seen it all, hasn't it?
Centuries of French history. Coronations, revolutions, wars. You name it, Notre Dame has lived through it.
And of course, it's still standing even after that devastating fire a few years back.
Yes. It's slowly but surely being restored.
It's incredible how a building can hold so much history, you know?
Right.
It makes you think about all the people who have walked through those doors over the centuries.
I know. It's amazing.
Well, we can't talk about Paris without mentioning the Louvre Museum.
Of course not. The Louvre is home to some of the most famous works of art in the world.
It's the world's largest art museum too, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely massive.
I have to admit, though, I find massive museums a little overwhelming.
I can see that.
There's just so much to see. Is there a piece of art at the Louvre that really stands out to you? Maybe one with a cool story behind it?
You know, I'm really drawn to the Winged Victory of Samothrace.
Okay, I've heard of that. Isn't that the statue that's missing its head?
It is. But even without the head, there's just this incredible power and movement to it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's actually quite a story. It was discovered in pieces, like a giant puzzle, on a Greek island.
Wow, and they put it all back together.
Painstakingly.
Now, that's what I call a souvenir.
Right.
So we've got the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, the Louvre.
All the heavy hitters.
You'd think we've covered it all, but we're just getting started. We
Okay.
haven't even left the city yet.
That's right. Just a short trip outside of Paris, we have the Palace of Versailles.
Ooh la. I've heard the gardens there are just mind-blowing.
Oh, they are. Versailles was built to showcase the absolute power of the French monarchy.
It's all about opulence, right? Extravagance.
Exactly.
Like stepping back in time.
Oh, definitely. And there's even this amazing hall of mirrors.
Okay, now I'm intrigued.
Hundreds of mirrors reflecting the light from the windows, creating this just dazzling effect. It's incredible.
Wow, sounds like something straight out of a fairy tale. Okay, and to wrap up our whirlwind tour of historical landmarks, we have one more stop. The Arc de Triomphe.
Standing tall and proud at the end of the Champs-Élysées.
A perfect ending to the perfect Parisian stroll.
The Arc de Triomphe actually honors those who fought and died for France, you know? And underneath, there's the tomb of the unknown soldier.
A very solemn reminder of the sacrifices made.
It is, but it's also a powerful symbol of national unity.
Okay, well, we've explored those grand monuments that define the Parisian skyline. Those must-sees. But let's switch gears for a second.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Paris isn't all about the big, bold landmarks, right? There's also this natural beauty that's hidden throughout the city.
Oh, absolutely.
So where do we go first?
Well, what better place to start than the Seine River?
I was hoping you'd say that.
It's the lifeblood of the city, winding its way through the heart of Paris, connecting all those different neighborhoods.
Those romantic boat tours always look so inviting.
They are. A boat tour is a great way to see the city from a totally different perspective, especially at night when everything is lit up.
Ooh, so magical. I'm adding that to my to-do list.
Good choice.
Okay, well, let's say we've had our fill of the river, we've seen all the sights, and we're ready for some peace and quiet. Where do we go?
I'd say the Jardin des Tuileries.
Oh, I've seen pictures. It looks so peaceful.
It's an oasis of calm, right in the middle of the city. Originally created for royalty, of course.
So you know it's got to be beautiful.
Elegant statues, perfectly manicured lawns, and they even have a Ferris wheel for a bit of fun.
A Ferris wheel in a royal garden.
Only in Paris.
All right, well, let's say we're looking for something a little more wild and expansive. What about the Bois de Boulogne?
Ah, yes. On the western edge of the city.
I've heard it's massive, like a nature lover's paradise.
That's right. Almost twice the size of Central Park in New York City.
Wow, so what's in this massive park?
Oh, you name it. Lakes, waterfalls, gardens, even a horse racing track.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm going.
It's a great escape from the city.
So we've strolled along the Seine, we've relaxed in a royal garden, we've explored a giant park.
What's next?
Well, for a truly unique Parisian experience, I think we need to head up to Montmartre.
Montmartre. It's just got this magical energy.
What is it about Montmartre?
Well, it's the artists' district. Full of charming little streets, cafes, studios. You can feel the creative energy buzzing all around you.
Love it.
And of course, there's the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, sitting on top of the hill like a giant white wedding cake.
Such an iconic site. You can see it from all over the city, can't you?
That's right.
So we've covered the historical grandeur and the natural beauty of Paris, but we've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
Oh yeah, there's so much more to explore. I mean, Paris is a city of contrasts. Embraces its past, but always has its eye on the future.
And that's what makes it so exciting, right?
Exactly.
So are you ready to jump into that exciting future? The modern marvels of Paris.
I'm ready. Buckle up, because we're about to enter a world of steel and glass.
Ooh, sounds intense.
Paris might be known for its historical charm, but it also boasts some of the most innovative architecture in the world. And we're going to see it all firsthand in La Défense.
La Défense, that name rings a bell. Remind me, what is it exactly?
So La Défense is like a city within a city. It's this modern business district, dominated by skyscrapers, kind of like a mini Manhattan.
Okay, I'm starting to remember it now.
And the star of the show is the Grand Arche, this massive cube-shaped building that actually frames the Arc de Triomphe in the distance.
Ah, yes. I've seen pictures. It looks so futuristic, like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It is pretty wild.
Okay, so from the Grand Arche, where do we go next on our modern architecture tour?
Well, let's head back towards the center of Paris and check out the Centre Pompidou.
The Centre Pompidou.
Now, this building, it's truly one of a kind. Imagine all the pipes, ducts, escalators that are usually hidden inside a building.
Yeah.
Well, at the Centre Pompidou, they're all on the outside.
Wait, really? They put all the guts of the building on the outside?
Yep. It's a very unique design.
That's so strange, but also kind of cool.
It's definitely a statement.
So what's inside this inside-out building?
Oh, the Centre Pompidou is a hub for modern and contemporary art. You'll find works by Picasso, Matisse, Warhol, just to name a few.
Oh, wow. And I bet the views from the rooftop terrace are pretty incredible too, huh?
Oh, they are. You get a panoramic view of the whole city.
Okay, adding that to the list. So we've seen a futuristic art and a building that's turned inside out. What else is on the menu for these modern marvels?
Well, for a really unique perspective on Paris, I think we should ascend the Tour Montparnasse.
Le Tour Montparnasse, another skyscraper.
It is, yes. Now, I know skyscrapers might not seem very Parisian, but the view from the top of this tower, it's truly spectacular.
I bet. What do you see from up there?
Well, you get this incredible view of the Eiffel Tower, of course.
So it's a view of the Eiffel Tower that actually includes the Eiffel Tower. I love it.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, but enough about views for now. Let's talk shopping. Paris is known for its incredible department stores.
Oh, yes.
And I've heard that the Galeries Lafayette is a must-see, not just for the shopping, but for the building itself.
That's right. The Galeries Lafayette is an architectural gem.
What's it like inside?
Well, imagine a grand glass dome, intricate Art Nouveau details, and luxurious boutiques as far as the eye can see.
Ooh, it sounds dreamy.
It's a shopping experience unlike any other.
I can just picture myself getting lost in there for hours.
It's easy to do.
Okay, so we've seen futuristic skyscrapers, inside-out museums, and luxurious department stores.
We've covered a lot of ground.
What's next on our Parisian adventure? What other hidden treasures are we going to uncover?
Well, we've explored the grandeur and the beauty of Paris. But now it's time to delve into its spiritual side. From grand basilicas to hidden mosques, Paris has this incredibly rich and diverse religious landscape.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm intrigued.
And that's where we'll pick up in our next segment.
Can't wait. Okay, so from skyscrapers and shopping malls, we're shifting gears now. Time to explore the spiritual side of Paris.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating how a city so known for fashion and food also has this like deep-rooted connection to faith, to history.
Right, it's that mix of, I don't know, the secular and the sacred that makes Paris so interesting to me.
I agree.
So where do we start this spiritual journey?
Well, there's no better place than Sacré-Cœur Basilica.
Ah, Sacré-Cœur. It's like that beacon on the hill. You can't miss it.
You really can't. It's perched right on top of Montmartre, that iconic white dome.
I know, it's definitely on my list of must-sees. But beyond its looks, what makes Sacré-Cœur so special?
Well, Sacré-Cœur was actually built as this symbol of hope, after France had gone through some really rough times.
What kind of rough times?
Well, like the Franco-Prussian War, a lot of political upheaval.
Yeah.
It was a tough period for the country.
I can imagine.
And so the basilica was meant to be this place of healing, of national reconciliation.
So it's more than just a pretty building then.
Exactly. It's a symbol of resilience of
Yeah.
the human spirit.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay, well, speaking of unique architecture, I understand Paris has a mosque too.
Oh, it does. The Mosquée de Paris. And it's absolutely stunning.
What's it like?
Well, it's built in this beautiful Moorish style, intricate tilework, horseshoe arches, a peaceful courtyard.
And you mentioned earlier it even has a hammam.
It does. You don't see that every day, do you?
Not in mosque, no. What's the story there?
Well, hammams are actually a traditional part of Islamic culture. A place for cleansing, for socializing.
Oh, interesting.
And the one at the Mosquée de Paris is open to the public. So anyone can experience this, ancient ritual.
Okay, I'm adding that to my itinerary. So from a basilica on a hilltop to a mosque with a hammam, Paris is full of surprises.
It really is.
But we're just getting started, right? What other religious sites are we going to explore?
All right, how about a church with a little bit of a literary connection?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Saint-Sulpice Church. Might look pretty unassuming from the outside, but it actually plays a key role in Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code.
No way! The Da Vinci Code, I remember that book. It was huge.
It was a global phenomenon.
Okay, so what happens at Saint-Sulpice in the story? I don't want any spoilers, though.
Oh, no spoilers, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say the church features pretty prominently in the plot. Specifically its gnomon and meridian line, secret societies, ancient mysteries, all that good stuff.
Ooh, so intriguing. Okay, so even if you're not religious, Saint-Sulpice is worth a visit just for its literary fame.
Exactly.
And it has a famous organ, too, right?
That's right. One of the largest in France, actually. It's been played by some of the most celebrated organists in history.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine how incredible that sounds. Okay, so from the grandeur of Sacré-Cœur to the mystery of Saint-Sulpice, we're getting a real sense of the spiritual diversity of Paris.
And we're not done yet.
What else is there?
Well, let's step back in time to ancient Rome for a moment.
Ancient Rome in Paris.
Trust me on this one. La Madeleine Church. Now, this place, it looks more like a Roman temple than a traditional church. With those towering Corinthian columns and the triangular pediment.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Paris really loves blending different architectural styles.
Oh, it does. It takes inspiration from everywhere.
What's the story behind La Madeleine, then, if it was supposed to be a Roman temple?
Well, it's had an interesting journey. It was originally planned as this temple to the glory of Napoleon's army.
No way, really?
Yeah, but then later it got transformed into a church.
So it went from military monument to church.
Yep. And today, it's still a place of worship. But it's also a popular concert venue because the acoustics are just incredible.
So military monument, church, concert hall, that's quite a resume for one building.
It is. Only in Paris.
Okay, and to round out our exploration of religious sites, we have one more stop, right? A synagogue.
Yes. The Grande Synagogue de Paris, one of the largest in Europe.
Really? Wow, okay. Tell me more.
Well, it's a beautiful example of Moorish architecture. With a touch of Art Deco, just to mix things up a bit.
Of course, always got to have that Parisian flair.
Exactly. But the Grand Synagogue is more than just a pretty building. It's really a testament to the vibrancy of Jewish culture in Paris.
The Jewish community has deep roots in Paris, right?
Oh, absolutely. Going back centuries.
So is that reflected in the design of the synagogue?
Definitely. I mean, it's a place of worship, of course, but it's also a cultural center. They host concerts, exhibitions, events. It's all about community.
I love that. So we've gone from hilltop basilica to hidden mosque to literary church to Roman temple and finally to a grand synagogue.
Quite the journey, huh?
It really is. We've seen it all. But we're not done yet.
Not even close.
We're leaving the sacred now and moving on to the stage. I mean, Paris is famous for its vibrant arts and entertainment scene.
I know the best in the world.
Okay, so where are we headed first?
Well, if we're talking about Parisian grandeur, we got to start at the Opera Garnier.
Ooh, the Opera Garnier. It's that opulent opera house, right?
It is a masterpiece of Beaux-Arts architecture.
Oh.
Think marble staircases, glittering chandeliers, velvet seats.
Okay, stop. You had me at glittering chandeliers.
It's the epitome of Parisian elegance.
I have to admit, though, I'm not a huge opera fan. Is there something at the Opera Garnier that would appeal to, like, someone who's not really into opera?
Oh, for sure. I
Oh.
mean, even if you don't see a performance, the building itself is a work of art. That grand staircase is legendary, and there are these stunning ceiling frescoes by Marc Chagall.
Okay, now you're talking. And wait, isn't there a phantom lurking in the shadows, too?
Well, that's what the legend says.
I knew it! Okay, so from highbrow opera to, well, something a little more risque, we have to talk about the Moulin Rouge.
The Moulin Rouge, a Parisian institution.
It's world famous, isn't it? I mean, it's the birthplace of the can-can.
That's right, and it's been entertaining audiences for over a century.
Those feathered costumes, the high-kicking dancers, it's iconic.
It is.
Is it super touristy, though?
Well, it's definitely a tourist attraction, but it's also a piece of Parisian history. It reminds us of the Belle Époque, that time of artistic and cultural flourishing in Paris.
I see. So whether you go for the history or the entertainment, it's an experience you don't forget.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we've experienced the grandeur of the opera and the can-can kicks of the Moulin Rouge. Where to next on our cultural tour of Paris?
Let's step into a world of impressionist masterpieces now.
Ooh, I love the Impressionists.
We're headed to the Musée d'Orsay.
Now, the Musée d'Orsay is housed in a former railway station, right?
It is. Pretty cool, huh?
That's so cool. But the real treasures are the paintings inside, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking Monet, Renoir, Degas, some of the greatest impressionist painters of all time.
Is there a particular piece at the Musée d'Orsay that you'd recommend?
I'm always drawn to Starry Night over the Rhone by Van Gogh.
Ah, Van Gogh, a classic.
It's just the way he captures the light, the movement of the stars reflecting in the water. It's breathtaking.
It's like you can feel the artist's soul,
Exactly.
Well, speaking of artists and their legacies, our final stop takes us to a place that honors some of France's most influential figures, the Pantheon.
Ah, the Pantheon, a neoclassical masterpiece.
And it serves as a mausoleum for some of France's greatest minds, right?
That's right. You'll find the tombs of Voltaire, Rousseau, Victor Hugo, Marie Curie.
Wow. That's quite a list. It's like a who's who of French history and culture.
It is. And the building itself is just as impressive as the people buried there.
So what's it like?
Well, it's actually modeled after the Pantheon in Rome. With that grand dome and imposing facade. It's a symbol of national pride.
And a reminder of the enduring legacy of human achievement.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've walked in the footsteps of artists, writers, scientists, revolutionaries. It's amazing how Paris manages to weave together so many different threads of history, culture, creativity.
Paris is a city that truly celebrates both its past and its present. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's time to ask ourselves, what single landmark really captures the essence of Paris for you? What symbol resonates most deeply with your own personal connection to the city?
It's a tough question, right? What is the essence of Paris? I mean, it's a city with so many different sides, romantic, historic, artistic, even a little bit edgy.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on who you ask, doesn't it? For some people, it might be the grandeur of the Eiffel Tower. For others, maybe it's the quiet charm of, a hidden little courtyard or something.
I know, you're so right. It's so different for everyone. Personally, I keep coming back to the Seine.
The Seine.
Yeah. I just love the idea of that river, just flowing right through the heart of the city, connecting all these different neighborhoods and time periods.
I see what you mean. It's a powerful symbol. That constant flow amidst all the change. Like the city itself, always moving forward, but still with all its history woven right into its banks.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So I'm curious, what landmark really stands out to you, as capturing the spirit of Paris?
That's a good question. For me, it's actually the Centre Pompidou.
Oh, the Centre Pompidou.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just so bold, so unconventional. It really challenges, the whole idea of what a museum should be. And I kind of think that's like Paris itself, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Always pushing boundaries, not afraid to be a little different. But it's not just about the big landmarks either, is it? It's about those little moments you experience while you're wandering around.
Oh, absolutely. A hidden bookshop, a street musician playing an accordion, the smell of fresh bread from a boulangerie, like all those little things, they add up to create the magic of Paris.
Right, it's the unexpected encounters, those glimpses into the real life of the city.
Exactly. And that's what makes Paris so special. I mean, you could visit 100 times and still discover something new. It's a city that rewards curiosity, and
Right.
encourages you to go beyond the obvious.
I love that. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say to someone who's planning their first trip to Paris? What advice would you give them?
Hmm. Well, I think the biggest thing is don't try to do too much.
Hmm.
Like choose a few things that you're really interested in and then just like dive deep into those experiences.
Yeah, don't try to cram everything in.
Right. Wander through different neighborhoods, take your time, get lost a little, let the city's rhythm kind of wash over you.
That's such great advice. Paris isn't a city you just check off a list. It's a city you have to really savor.
You got it. And don't be afraid to stray from the beaten path a little bit.
Hmm.
Some of my favorite memories of Paris are from those unplanned moments, the little hidden gems I stumbled upon when I wasn't even looking.
Those are always the best moments, aren't they? Okay, so to our listeners out there, getting ready to embark on their Parisian adventure, pack your curiosity, your sense of wonder, and maybe a good pair of walking shoes.
Oh, yeah. You'll be doing a lot of walking.
You're in for a real treat.
And remember, Paris is a city that reveals itself in layers. So, the more you explore, the more you'll discover. All those hidden depths, those unexpected treasures. It's a city that keeps calling you back.
This deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on Paris. It really has. I feel like I've only just scratched the surface.
And that's the beauty of it, right? There's always more to learn, more to experience in Paris.
Well, until our next deep dive, au revoir.
And to our listener, bon voyage. We hope your Parisian adventure is filled with magic, with discovery, with all those amazing little moments that make Paris so unforgettable.